Hello everyone. In 1922, Arthur Holly Compton studied the scattering of X-rays of known frequency from graphite and looked at the recoil electrons and the scattered X-rays. He observed that X-rays were scattered in various directions after striking the target. This is known as Compton scattering. Also, some of the scattered radiation had longer wavelength than that of the incident radiation. The difference in wavelength between scattered and incident radiation is known as Compton shift. Let the wavelength of incident radiation be lambda and the wavelength of scattered radiation be lambda dash, then the Compton shift is lambda dash minus lambda. Let the angle made by the scattered radiation with respect to the direction of incident radiation be theta and the angle made by the recoiling electron be phi with the incident radiation direction. Now, this increase in wavelength did not depend on intensity of radiation but depended on this angle theta. Compton gave this Compton shift or change in wavelength as h by m naught c into 1 minus cos theta, where m naught is the rest mass of the electron and h by m naught c is known as Compton wavelength of the electron. But according to wave theory, scattered radiation should have same frequency and wavelength as incident radiation. And this was not happening here. So, photon theory came into picture. And in this picture, Compton scattering is viewed as an elastic collision between a photon and the free electron. The scattered photon must have less energy than the incident photon because some energy is given to the recoiling of the electron as well. Energy for a photon is E is equal to h nu and this photon has a momentum P is equals to h nu by c. Energy and momentum are relativistic quantities. We will use energy momentum relation of special theory of relativity E square is equal to m naught square c raised to 4 plus p square c square to derive this Compton equation. Here m naught is the rest mass of the particle. Since photons are massless, m will be equal to 0 and energy of the photon can also be written as E is equal to Pc. But how did we get this relativistic energy momentum relation? We have the relation between the mass and the rest mass of the particle as m is equal to m naught by root 1 minus v square by c square, where v is the velocity of the particle and c is the speed of light. This relation is known as law of variation of mass with velocity, and it says that whenever a particle is in speed, it seems to get heavier. Here, 1 by root 1 minus v square by c square is called the Lorentz factor, which connects the mass and the rest mass of the particle. We also have E is equal to mc square, which is the famous energy mass relation, and momentum is related to velocity and mass as P is equal to m into v. Using these details, we can derive this energy momentum relativistic relation. We have E is equal to mc square and mass is related to the rest mass by m is equals to m naught root of 1 minus v square by c square. Also we have momentum of the particle is equal to m into v, where v is the velocity and m is the mass of the particle. Now we can just substitute the value of m in E is equals to mc square to get E is equals to m naught by root 1 minus v square by c square, and here c square is there already. So if I just square this equation both sides, I will get E square is equal to m naught square c raised to 4 by the square root will get disappeared from the denominator if I square. So this can also be written as m naught c square into v square minus v square plus c. I have just added and subtracted v square in the numerator for convenience. This is divided by 1 minus v square by c square as it is. Now I can split these terms by having the common denominator 1 minus v square by c square. So I will write as m naught square into c square v square by 1 minus v square by c square minus m naught square c square v square by 1 minus v square by c square plus m naught square c raised to 4 by 1 minus v square by c square. Oh, there is a square here. Now this, if you see carefully, if I remove c square and write other terms in the bracket as m naught square v square by 1 minus v square by c square into c square, this term is going to be the momentum. If I just substitute the value of m here, I am going to get this term here. So this will be my momentum and I will have a square on this. This rest terms can be written as it is, or I can take common denominator and merge these two terms in the numerator as m naught square c raised to 4 minus m naught square c square v square. I will have plus here and this will be 1 minus v square by c square. Now my energy E square is equal to P square C square plus, if I take m naught square C square common here, in this term I will have C square minus V square by 1 minus V square by C square. Then by doing some simple algebra, I can cancel this C square minus V square. P square into C square plus m naught square c square into, I can take c square in the numerator and write here as c square minus v square by c square minus v square, which will be cancelled. This will be equal to 1. So ultimately E square will be equal to P square C square plus m naught square c raised to 4. So this is the equation which we were looking for. So this is the energy momentum relativistic equation. We have this relativistic triangle which describes this relation in a very interesting way. If we have a right angled triangle, the hypotenuse will be the total energy of the particle. This will be equal to sum of the m naught c square, which is the energy of the particle at rest, and the kinetic energy of the particle. The base of the triangle is m naught c square and the perpendicular or the other side is represented by P into C. Then by Pythagoras theorem, the total energy represented by the hypotenuse will be equal to square root of the sum of the squares of the other two sides, that is m naught c square and Pc. This is exactly the equation which we have derived just now. So this also can be a good mnemonic to remember this energy momentum relativistic relation. Coming back to the derivation of Compton effect, tie your seatbelts. It is a long derivation, but it has simple working, and believe me, it is going to be fun deriving this equation. Consider a photon of energy E is equals to h nu naught and it has momentum Pi is equals to h nu naught by c. colliding elastically with an electron at rest. Let the direction of incoming photon be along x-axis. After scattering, the photon moves along a direction making an angle theta with the x-axis, while the scattered electron moves with angle phi with the x-axis. Let the magnitude of the momentum of scattered electron be Pe, while that of the scattered photon be Pf. As momentum is a vector, we can resolve it as horizontal and vertical component by applying principle of conservation of momentum, which says that momentum lost by the photon is equal to momentum gained by the electron. So, along our x-axis, what we can write for the momentum lost by the photon? It will be the initial momentum minus the final momentum having the horizontal component cos theta, and this should be equal to the momentum of the electron with that angle cos phi, because we are talking about the horizontal component. Now this will be along x direction. Let this be our equation 1. What will happen along y direction? Along y direction, initially everything is to be 0 because photon is massless. Therefore, momentum is mass into velocity and momentum becomes 0. Therefore, this will be 0 and this has to be equated by the final terms, the momentum of the photon with sign this time because we are talking about the vertical component, plus the momentum of the electron into that angle having sign. Now this one I can also write as Pf sin theta is equal to Pe sin phi. Let this be equation 2. Now square and add these horizontal and vertical components of momenta and equate for photon and electron like this: Pi minus Pf cos theta whole square plus Pf sin theta whole square is equal to Pe cos phi whole square plus Pe sin phi whole square. Now use formula a minus b whole square for Pi minus Pf cos theta whole square and just expand it. We have Pi square plus Pf square cos square theta minus 2 into Pi Pf cos theta plus Pf square sin square theta as it is, and the right hand side I can take Pe common and write cos square phi plus sin square phi in brackets so that this becomes equal to 1 because cos square theta plus sin square theta is equal to 1. And same thing can be done in the left hand side also. See here, if I have Pi square plus, if I take common as Pf square, I can write cos square theta plus sin square theta minus 2 into Pi Pf cos theta as it is, and in the right side I have only Pe. Now this also becomes equal to 1. So my equation will become Pi square plus Pf square minus 2 Pi Pf cos theta is equal to Pe. It should be square actually. Pe square. Now this one is an important equation for us because we need this equation for substitution in the later stage. So let us name it as equation 3. Now include relativistic effect. Since energy is not a vector but it is a scalar, it is direction independent. So we don't need to resolve the vertical and horizontal components for energy. If the rest mass of electron is taken to be m0, its initial energy for the electron will be m0 c square because momentum part is 0, and its final energy will be our relativistic equation which we derived, that will be equal to, the energy of that electron will be equal to square root of m naught square c raised to 4 plus Pe square c square. Now let us apply the law of conservation of energy. Loss of energy of photon should be equal to the energy gained by the electron. Here let it be photon. So in my left hand side, I know that loss of energy means before collision the energy was h nu, and after scattering the energy becomes h nu dash. If I take the initial frequency as nu and final frequency as nu dash for the photon, let me write it. Nu, let it be the initial frequency of photon and nu dash be the final frequency, that is after the scattering takes place. Okay. So in this case, what will be the loss of energy of photon? It should be h nu minus h nu dash, because h nu is the energy before collision minus h nu dash, which is the energy after the scattering. And this one should be equal to the total energy, which was the final energy, the total energy or the final energy which was given by our relativistic triangle. So the energy gained by the electron should be the total energy minus the energy of the electron before the collision. So this will be equal to root of m naught square c raised to 4 plus Pe square c square minus the energy before the collision for the electron, that was m naught c square. Now I can rearrange this equation. I can write it as h nu plus m naught c square, then minus h nu dash, and this can be equal to root of m naught square c raised to 4 plus Pe square c square. Let this be equation 4. Okay. Now we can easily remove the square root from the right hand side just by squaring both sides. So if I square both sides, I will write it like this: h nu by h nu dash plus m naught c square whole square, and this will be root m naught square c raised to 4 plus Pe square c square whole square, so that my square root gets cancelled. And here in the left hand side, I can treat this h nu minus h nu dash as A and m naught c square as B. And I can write as A square, means I can write as h nu minus h nu dash whole square, plus in the place of B square I write m naught c square whole square, then minus 2 times, it is plus h nu minus h nu dash into m naught c square. And in the right hand side, of course, my square root got cancelled. So I will write the term without the square root. Now this is what I have got. Now clearly my m naught c raised to 4 gets cancelled from the left hand side and the right hand side. And now what is remaining? H nu minus h nu dash whole square minus 2 m naught c square h nu minus h nu dash. This will be equal to Pe square c square. Now remember the equation 3 which I told. In that equation 3, we had Pe square was equal to Pi square plus Pf square minus 2Pi Pf cos theta. Let me write it here for you. From equation 3, we have Pe square is equal to Pi square plus Pf square minus 2Pi Pf cos theta. Now we can substitute this value in the above equation. H nu minus h nu dash whole square minus 2m naught c square h nu minus h nu dash. Then will be equal to Pe square C square. In place of Pe square, I am going to write Pi square plus Pf square minus 2Pi Pf cos theta into C square. Now we know that the initial momentum Pi was equal to h nu by c and the final momentum Pf was equal to h nu dash by c. Now we can substitute the values of Pi and Pf in this above equation, and also let me expand this h nu minus h nu dash whole square as a minus b whole square. So I can write as h nu whole square plus h nu dash whole square minus 2 times h square nu into nu dash minus 2 m naught c square into h nu minus h nu dash. This one will be equal to, in place of Pi, I am going to write h nu by c whole square plus in place of Pf, I am going to write h nu dash by c whole square minus 2 times h nu by c into h nu dash by c into cos theta into c square. So this c square will cancel all the c squares from the denominator, isn't it? So h nu whole square plus h nu dash whole square minus 2 times h square nu dash minus 2 m naught c square h nu minus h nu dash is equal to h nu whole square plus h nu dash whole square minus 2 times h square nu dash cos theta. Now what I can do is first cancel the similar terms, this h nu square and h nu dash whole square, and this h nu whole square and h nu dash whole square are going to cancel. And what else will be remaining? We will have minus 2h square nu dash minus 2 m naught c square. Sorry, it will be plus m naught c square, isn't it? Yeah, it is going to be plus m naught c square into h nu minus h nu dash is equal to minus 2 times h square nu dash cos theta. Now let me take cos theta term on the left hand side and m naught c square term on the right hand side. I have 2h square nu dash minus 2h square nu into nu dash cos theta is equal to minus 2h m naught c square nu minus nu dash. Now I can take minus 2h common. I will have h nu dash minus h nu dash cos theta. Here minus 2h common. I will have m naught c square nu minus nu dash, and here minus 2h will get cancelled. Now I can take h nu common here. In fact, I can take h nu dash common here. So 1 minus cos theta will be equal to m naught c square nu minus nu dash. Now I can take m naught c square on the left hand side. H by m naught, not c square, I will take h by m naught c. I will take only one c in the left hand side and write 1 minus cos theta as it is. And in the right hand side c square, in the right hand side c into nu minus nu dash will be remaining, and the nu dash from the left hand side I will bring it to the denominator. Now this I can also write as c nu by nu minus nu into nu dash minus c nu dash by nu dash. This nu and nu will get cancelled in the first term. Nu dash and nu dash will get cancelled in the second term. I will have c by nu dash minus c by nu. So this is h by m naught c into 1 minus cos theta. But we know that our frequency nu is equal to c by lambda, or lambda is equals to c by nu, or lambda dash will be equal to c by nu dash. Now just let me substitute here. I will have h by m naught c into 1 minus cos theta will be equal to c by nu dash can be written as lambda dash minus lambda. So this is the required Compton equation which we were looking for. These are the Compton results for the four values of the scattering angle theta. The Compton shift increases as the scattering angle increases. Here we can see that when theta is 0 degree, we have only one peak for the wavelength, whereas when theta is more than 0 degree, we have two peaks of the wavelengths. But the Compton shift increases with increase in this scattered angle theta. Therefore, we can say that the maximum wavelength of X-rays is possible if theta is 180 degree. Also, the angle by which the electron is scattered is related to the scattering angle theta of the photon by cot theta by 2 is equals to 1 plus lambda dash by lambda into tan phi, and the Compton effect is best exhibited with short wavelength radiation like X-rays, and a free electron cannot absorb a photon because it is not possible to simultaneously satisfy energy momentum conservation. We should also note that Compton shift is not observed if the X-ray photons are scattered by the tightly bound electrons. The difference between Compton effect and the photoelectric effect is that in photoelectric effect, the wavelength of the photon is not observed as the photon disappears after interacting with the electrons. Compton effect was in consequence to the exchange of energy between the X-ray photons and the freely bound electrons in the target material, as though it is a kind of particle-particle collision. Please do let me know your feedback in the comment section whether you liked this video lecture or no. I would be happy to answer your questions. Thank you.